I have been craving the heck out of this movie that I'm about to talk about. It has everything I could ever want. It has all the breakfast, lunch, dinner and dessert that I ever wanted. It is just amazing. Hello, welcome back to the James Ramblin' Reviews for yet another episode. Today's episode is going to be about Kraven the Hunter, the best movie of 2024, the most immaculately well filmed, well shot, well choreographed movie of all time. Okay, I'm kinda milking it at this point, but yeah, we're gonna be reviewing Kraven the Hunter here. And before we get into any of that, I will be giving you a bit of context here, because this is actually, a movie where it's actually meant to be inside of a franchise of Sony Marvel spin-offs where we have these Spider-Man villains, but the catch is, and the gimmick is that they literally don't have a lot of Spider-Man actually in any of the movies, even though they are Spider-Man villains. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but it's an actual thing, because you had Morbius, Madam Web, you had the Venom movies. The Venom movies are probably the only entertaining movies out of any of these. Morbius, it was actually funny, but it was funny for all the wrong reasons, whereas Venom was funny for all the right reasons, right? So there's that. And then Madam Web, I saw it in the cinema. I actually saw it close to when it came out, and honestly don't remember anything about it. All I remember is it was very bad and very boring. So there's definitely that. So where do we begin with the plot of Kraven the Hunter? So the first thing is that I am not going to spoil this movie, because if you really do want to watch this movie, right, I am not going to spoil that for you. So pretty much what you have here is you have this guy called Kraven the Hunter. Oh my goodness, who would have thought, right? So you have him, right? And he's trying to go on this path, this adventure, this tale where he's like, I need to become the strongest, the greatest man who ever lived, kind of thing. And he's trying to live up to his father, trying to live up to his brother, but then when he's trying to do what he wants, other people get in his way, and he just really is so annoyed and mad with them. And that is probably the best way to describe this movie. It is very simple, very, very simple in its nature. And so I'm going to actually talk about my movie experience, as well as my rating out of 10, and everything in between. So how was this movie? I am going to be honest with you right now into saying that Kraven the Hunter is an absolute movie of all time, because this movie is so strange. Because let me say this right now, that when I started watching this movie in the cinema last night, it was not a packed audience, right? And there was two old couples sitting, one in front of me and one behind me, right? And so there was definitely that. But then the movie opens, right, and it's in this very, very blurry quality, and it's like, what the heck just happened? And then as Kraven the Hunter's father is talking, they pause the movie to resize it and change the quality to where you could actually kind of see the quality of the actual picture. So that actually impacted a bit of the film. So there is that. And I will be honest into saying that there are a couple times, or more than a few times, where I was laughing my ass off, because this movie has some of the weirdest dialogue, the most AI generated weird dialogue you could ever come up with. It was like they had to fart something out and have them talk so weird. And I'm going to explain that as an example, right? You just have these scenes where the main character, Kraven the Hunter, played by Aaron Taylor-Johnson, is just like, I am Kraven, I am the hunter, I hunt things and things and things, right? Something like that. And then you have Russell Crowe, and I forgot to mention that Russell Crowe is in this movie, a Oscar-winning actor for Gladiator, the original masterpiece, right? In this movie as Kraven the Hunter's dad, and he is just like, legend becomes legacy, then legacy becomes legendary legacy, and there's these lines of dialogue where you're just like, who on earth wrote this? Did they ask the director to go into ChatGPT and go like, write the most cheesy, over the top, silly corny lines of cinema ever, and then they just farted it out. Like, that was really weird. And then you have really, really bad CGI in this movie with Rhino. And when you do see that in the movie, it is very, very strange how they had no way in which they could have actually made the CGI look a lot better. But then, there is that, but I feel like a lot of this movie, while it's a 2-hour long film, it doesn't actually have a lot of a story. Like, it sets up these ideas and sets up these things that, okay, Kraven the Hunter is going to go on and do this thing, and then Rhino's going to have his own origin story and backstory, and then there's this woman who has this thing related to Kraven the Hunter, and then his brother. Like, there's all these ideas, but it never comes to this point where it's a satisfying conclusion, and it's more or less just a mess of a film where you're trying to see what on earth is happening. It keeps jumping back and forth between all these characters and all their storylines, and it turns into a very, very strange experience. And overall, really, for the laughing aspect and that entertainment alone that I had, this movie just feels like an absolute 11 out of 10 for that reason. And I'm just joking when I say that, but I feel like this movie is actually one of the most mediocre pieces of trash I've ever watched in this entire calendar year of cinema. So I'm going to be honest in saying that this is probably sitting between the lines of a 4 or a 5 out of 10, probably like a 5 out of 10, because it was still watchable. I have definitely seen worse, but I've also seen better, and definitely Venom: The Last Dance, the previous Sony Marvel movie that came out before this, is just a lot better. And even, I mean, it's not really saying a lot, but at least they actually knew what they were doing with that movie. With this movie, what the fuck did I just watch in the freaking cinema? Bye.